Hey everyone, so firstly, thanks so much to everyone who watched my EDM masterclass. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'll leave it linked above now. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a KYGO style track, so a tropical house track. So what we'll do is we'll play the project and then I'll show you how I made it. So the project sounds like this.
There's something different about you. I'm feeling different now that I found you. There's something different about you. Yeah, I'm feeling different now that I found you. There's something different about you. I'm feeling different now that I found you. There's something different about you. Yeah, I'm feeling different now that I found you.
So first I found this vocal sample on Splice and that sounds like this.
There's something different about you.
So I've added 5 EQs in a row here, some compression, dimension expansion, de-esser, space design, and direction mixer, and that's just to help mix the vocal to make it sound better. Without all of those, it sounds like this.
There's something different about you.
I've also pitched up the vocal 1 semitone. Next, I created the chord progression using upright piano, and that sounds like this. So something I see KYGO doing a lot on his tracks is basically taking the root note of the chord progression and just playing it 2 times in every bar. Next, I created a pad from Silent 1. That's using the Nicky Romero sample Miss, and that sounds like this. This just adds warmth to the track. So I cut out the highs and the lows to make it more like a pad. So I listened to KYGO's Golden Hour album the other day, and I noticed that he's starting to use a lot more vocoders. So I just took the Logic one and basically routed the vocal into it, and it sounds like this. It's not the greatest vocoder, but it definitely adds something. Next, I added a string section, and that's just using Logic's King Cross sample with direction mixer, compression, and EQ, and that sounds like this. Finally, a sub bass, the one I use in all my tracks, simple sub, and that's from Silent 1, looks like this. And for the rhythm, it's just a snap. So altogether, that section sounds like this.
There's something different about you. I'm feeling different now that I found you. There's something different.
So in the next section, I've changed up the piano, and this is where I tried to get as close to the sort of KYGO-esque style. So I basically took the chord progression, I cut it up, and I think what KYGO does a lot is he uses kind of basic rhythms, but they just sound so good. So again, I've taken the top note, and every time there's a gap in the chord progression, I've just put that in, and that sounds like this. So again, the vocal just remains the same. The violin section now just plays the top note, and that sounds like this. The snap continues to stay the same, so the sub bass is now just playing the new chord progression. The last element in this section is a guitar, and that's some ample guitars, and that sounds like this. So this is also a free plugin, and it sounds actually very good. And then the EQ, just cut out resonant frequencies, boosted the highs and took out the lows. I've also automated a low end of the piano, so as it gets towards the drop, the bass sort of gets quieter and quieter, and therefore the drop sounds louder. In terms of rhythm, the snap is the same, and then I've added the shaker loop as well. And for effects, I just use this here. So that's just a reverse crash. So now we're diving into the drop. So the first elements here are just rhythmic elements, and they sound like this. So on there is just a kick, shaker loop, hi-hat, claps, this little laser effect that basically transitions the build up into the drop, some snaps, and then just downlifters and transitions to help the drop move. So in terms of the chords, we have the same chord progression as the build, but now they're routed to a sidechain bus. So first up we have the piano. And then from there, we also have the guitar. And to make the piano wider, I've added 2 more layers of piano, and I've panned one left and one right, and that sounds like this. And then what KYGO does is normally add an electronic layer on top, and that's to help crisp up the chords. So that sounds like this. And that's just made in Silent 1. In terms of the basses, I have 4 of them here. So the first one sounds like this. So that's just a piano. Next is this guitar bass. Next we have a bass that's made in Silent. It's got a very high attack and it sounds like this. Finally, just a sub bass. So once I had the chord and bass, I was looking to make vocal chops. So what I normally do first is just create the lead that I want out of just electronic sounds. So for that, I've got this. So I created vocal chops. If you don't know how to do that in Logic, I've made a tutorial on how to do that. I'll leave it linked above, and they sound like this. So the processing on there is just an EQ to cut out resonant frequencies, raise the high end and basically take all the bass out. Compression, more EQ, 2 types of reverb, an enveloper to increase the attack, and then I have another EQ for Halo Supermassive, which adds delay, direction mixer. This is the sidechain, so same as the rest of the track, and then another EQ. So normally with vocal chops I have to EQ them a lot so that they don't have any resonant frequencies, otherwise you can really hear it. In the second half of the drop, I've taken the vocal chop and I've just lowered it down by 1 octave. So the last element in this drop that plays throughout the entire piece, I also hear KYGO doing this a lot on his tracks, is you just take a phrase from the vocal and have it repeat. So on mine it sounds like this. So with all these elements together, the track sounds like this. So hopefully you found this tutorial useful. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. I will leave the whole project as a download in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe.